You know that person, right? The one who skips their birthday? While some of us are planning parties weeks in advance, they just kind of shrug when you ask what they're doing for the big day. But what if it's not just, a preference? What if it's a peek into a totally different way of thinking about the world?
So what's the deal? Why do some people go all out for their birthday while others just don't? You might think, oh, they're just sad or maybe a little antisocial. But honestly, the real psychology behind it is way more fascinating.
Turns out, how a person handles their birthday says a ton about their inner world. It really comes down to three key things: how they build their identity, how they see time passing, and, maybe most importantly, how they budget their social energy. So, let's dive in.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the source of self-worth. It really all starts here. For a lot of people, a birthday is like an annual check-in, a confirmation that you matter. But for the birthday skipper, well, their validation comes from a completely different place.
Psychologists have a term for this, of course. They call it an internal locus of identity. Think of it like having a built-in compass for your own value. People who have this don't need a party or a pile of presents to feel important. That sense of worth, it's generated from the inside, and it's steady all year round.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you've got external validation. That's all about the social proof, the party, the gifts, the flood of Facebook messages. That's when you need the world to shout, hey, you're important. But on the other side, internal validation is just quietly confident. It doesn't need a big performance to feel secure.
And get this, research actually backs this up. People with this strong internal compass tend to score way higher in authenticity. It makes sense, right? They're not putting on a show for anyone. They're just being them.
Okay, so it's not just about self-worth. There's another huge piece to this puzzle. People who skip their birthdays are often running on a totally different clock than the rest of us. Let's take a look at how they actually perceive time. For a lot of us, time is like a calendar, right? Full of these big, bold circles around important dates. Birthdays are huge checkpoints. But for birthday skippers, time is more like a river. It's just a smooth, continuous flow. No single day is magically more important than any other. The focus isn't on the ceremony, it's on the gradual, day-to-day journey.
And of course, there's a fancy psychological term for this. It's called low temporal landmark salience. That's a mouthful, I know. But basically it just means that those big landmark dates that society makes a fuss about, they just don't really pop on the calendar for these folks. A birthday doesn't feel any more special than a random Tuesday.
I love this quote from the source material. It just nails it. It's this idea of being present in the moment, not celebrating a ceremony about the past. It's about the process of living your life, not just putting big punctuation marks on the calendar once a year.
All right, and that leads us to the last big reason, and it's super practical. It's all about your social energy budget. We all have a limited amount of it, and it turns out birthday skippers are often just really deliberate about how they spend theirs.
I mean, let's be real, right? Being the birthday person can be exhausting. It's a ton of what we call emotional labor. You have to manage what everyone else wants, you have to perform gratitude for every single gift, even that weird sweater from your aunt, and you have to navigate all these tricky social situations. For some people, that just feels like a huge drain on their battery.
This chart is a great way to picture it. Look where the energy goes. They'd much rather spend that precious social energy on deep, genuine connections with a few people, that's the 80%, than on obligatory rituals that can feel kind of forced or inauthentic.
And this is so important. Opting out doesn't mean you're antisocial, not at all. It's actually a super healthy way of setting boundaries. It's like saying, hey, I really value our friendship, but I'd rather celebrate it in a way that feels real to me, not through a big performance. So when you pull all these threads together, you get this really clear psychological picture. It's not about someone being broken or sad or weird. It's just they're wired differently, and it's a completely valid way to be. So let's just quickly recap the three core mindsets of a birthday skipper. 1, their self-worth comes from the inside, not from outside praise. 2, they see time as a continuous river, not a series of stops. And 3, they invest their social energy carefully, choosing real connection over obligation.
So look, if this is you, if you're the person who lets your birthday slide by, listen up. You are not broken. This way of thinking is a perfectly healthy and valid way to move through the world. In fact, it's often a sign of real self-awareness and some seriously strong personal boundaries.
And that really leaves all of us with one big question to chew on. It doesn't matter if you throw a huge bash every year or if you forget your birthday's even happening. The real question is,
Where does your validation come from? The answer, well, it might just tell you a lot more about yourself than you think.